Like, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities. I understand. But I think we can all just admit that's kind of what's going on. She's the only one who was saying something genuinely nice that I think was vaguely relevant. I would say, obviously, I think the lefties are more charitable to her because she is visibly Muslim. We've all been there. We've all accidentally misspoke and wished harm upon a protected class. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all done it. Basically, she became a hijabi because her dad said he would buy her a car if she did it. Let's watch Frogan's response to Ethan. Let's see this. Important stuff here. So, Frogan has responded. Frogan the Hut has responded to Ethan Klein. I've not got high hopes of this. I'm going to be real. I don't really understand why Frogan is spoken about so much. Well, that's a lie. I do understand it, but there isn't really a good reason as to why she's spoken about so much. Is she really stupid? Yep. Does she say some kind of crazy stuff? Yeah. But there's a lot of 150 viewer streamers who say crazy stuff. I just don't know why you would ever dedicate a significant amount of time on your 50,000 viewer platform. Like, I'm not even saying it's like a don't punch down thing. Just like, I don't understand it from like a tactical perspective. Like, you're giving so much more attention to this nobody, but yet on Ethan Klein's 50,000 viewer platform, he just like talks about her so much. It feels like, when she is just like a complete nobody. Like, what really happened to Frogan? She got unfollowed by Ethan. She got unfollowed by Ethan, and she said, "I'll support the EDF if you EDF, not the video game, not the video game about fighting bugs. The military force that's accused of doing a genocide. I'll support the IDF if you refollow me." That's what she said, roughly. And Ethan took that pretty harshly. I think he was like upset about that. And then I think she was like crying on like a stream or something afterwards. Ethan like responded to her and her tweet about how October 7th was. She shouldn't say it was like good, but she said it was like an act of resistance, and you shouldn't have so much criticism for it. Basically, like, you know, you think you're all for revolution, except when it actually happens. Obviously, revolutions are ugly. Basically, was the gist, as far as I recollect. And then she got on stream and she started responding to Ethan's response to that. I think she cried at some point during that stream, and she was also watching the bit. That's when Anissa came into her chat. And later on point in the stream, Anissa came into her chat, and while Ethan was saying that anyone who sympathizes with Hamas should be burned alive and have their families shot in front of them, Anissa came into chat and said, "Oh, I think Ethan's just coming from a place of pain right now. I think he'll realize what he's saying right now isn't the best." And Ethan characterized that completely falsely as Anissa supporting Frogan's statements on October 7th. Yeah, Ethan did say that, yes. Yes. And then because Anissa said he was coming from a place of pain. Yeah, he was saying, basically, he was saying, if you're a Hamas supporter, you know, you should be, you know, if you're a terrorist, you should, if you support terrorism, maybe you should be terrorized, was the gist of it. And he said, the way he put it was, all these guys sympathizing, all these people sympathizing with Hamas, you know, maybe they should have their families burned alive in front of them and have their families shot by terrorists. Like, that's what he was saying. It was some shit like that. He was going like, it was totally crazy. It was crazy. Obviously, he is coming from a place of hurt in that moment. He was being very hyperbolic in his language because he was upset with the fact that he didn't feel like anyone was empathizing. These lefties were empathizing with the deaths of Israeli civilians. And Lisa pointed that out, but then Ethan, dishonestly, in his content got response, characterized her as supporting Frogan's take, when that clearly is not what she was doing. She was actually trying to provide some empathy for Ethan's take, which was insane.
Hi, my name is Frogan, and
So, yeah, basically, a lot of the Frogan stuff feels manufactured, and it does feel like it's because she's like an ugly, overweight woman, basically. Ugly, overweight Muslim woman. That is what it comes down to. I think we could... And listen, I get it. I feel the same way, but I think we can just be honest, really, can't we? I think we can just be honest. She's like an ugly, overweight, stupid, annoying Muslim. Like, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities, I understand. But I think we can all just admit that's kind of what's going on.
Hi, my name is Frogan, and this is the first time I'm ever making a solo YouTube.
Yeah, I think being Muslim is like a multiplier. There's like a little multiplier there. Like, you would get shit for being a stupid, annoying, overweight woman no matter what. But if it does feel like you stick a hijab on her, and it's like there's a multiplier. And that's not to say the criticisms are unfounded at all. Obviously, she is like a total retard. But like, why do so many people feel so strongly about it?
Video about everything that has happened the last...
True. Also, it didn't help. I think another thing, this is a good point. I think she had like an aggro multiplier as well. Because, yeah, it's like the Muslim thing's like a 1.2x multiplier. And then there's another like 1.2x multiplier, which is being nominated Rising Star 2 years in a row. Right? I think that is like in everyone's head, and like the crying about Mizkif thing, like that is permanently in everyone's head, and that's basically where this is all rooted.
Last year and a half. I address everything on my podcast, Arabs, which you can find the link below, but today it's just going to be you and I. I think the content cop was great. You know, I feel like Ian approached it in a way that nobody else did.
Yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't nominated 2 years in a row, was it? God, what happened? Did she win it 1 year and then cry she wasn't nominated the other year? Is that what happened? I think, right? She didn't win 2 years in a row. She was nominated twice and won one of those times. She was not. Lots of people saying she was nominated 2 years. Let's look this up. Which years was it? We can look here. So 2021. Frogan was nominated for 2021 Rising Star and did not win. Frogan was then nominated for the 2022 Rising Star and won. So she was nominated 2 years. You're wrong.
Approached it with empathy, and you know, it was supposed to make people feel bad for Ethan. One of the main things, especially as content creators, people tend to
there is like, I think there is a Photoshop thing. There is like a Photoshop thing. Yeah, it was like they tried to give her a third one. Yeah, they Photoshopped a third one, I think. Yeah. It was like she was nominated again the year after she won, and they Photoshopped that.
And forget that we're living normal people just like you. So obviously, with so much pressure on the internet, both on myself, and I'm sure Ethan can relate to this too, it's fucking hell. It's hard to manage. It's hard to deal with. So I feel like Ian approached it in a way that was more so holding a friend accountable and in a softer way.
Hey, wait, let me run this back. I already lost. I wasn't listening to her too.
And you know, it was supposed to make people feel bad for Ethan. One of the main things, especially as content creators, people tend to dehumanize us and forget that we're living normal people just like you. So obviously, with so much pressure on the internet, both on myself, and I'm sure Ethan can relate to this too, it's fucking hell.
I'm not... I understand what you're saying. I'm going to be very good faith here, okay? In the spirit of hearing both sides of the arguments, I'm going to try and be good faith here. But I don't feel like presenting it as it was meant to make people feel bad for Ethan is accurate or honest. I think there were elements of it that were meant to make people empathize for Ethan. Like obviously when iDubbbz is talking about, you know, his shit and starts crying about, you know, the harassment you got and how he sees that as similar to Ethan Healer. To the other side, to the pro-Palestine side, I understand to the Ethan side, everyone's just like, haha, iDubbbz is crying. But the point is, to the other side, everyone's going to be like, the idea, well, not everyone's going to be like, but the idea is to make people see that, oh, even though they're on the other side of the political thing, they still probably feel bad about the harassment, and you should recognize that. That's obviously the point when he puts that in. However, generally, the video is a critique of actions. I don't think it's meant to make people feel bad for him. I don't think that's what it's meant to do at all.
Normal people just like you. So obviously, with so much pressure on the internet, both on myself, and I'm sure Ethan can relate to this too, it's fucking hell. It's hard to manage. It's hard to deal with. So I feel like Ian approached it in a way that was more so holding a friend accountable and in a softer way, and wanted to generate empathy for Ethan. Other people don't do that. And I've even said this before. I feel like
I think that presentation video is like mostly true. Like, I think the only way you would have like a massive disagreement with that presentation of the video as a whole is if you were like fully bought into the narrative that this was actually some play to get into Hassan's friend group. But that makes like no sense to me when, again, Ian has been friends with Hassan since before Leftovers ended. Anissa has been friends with Denim since back in the old like Twitch days. It just doesn't seem like they needed to do anything to ingratiate themselves into that friend group. They're already quite close with those people. And like, Denims isn't going to be friends with iDubbbz and Anissa. She needs a clout display to be good friends with them. I don't think that makes any sense. That's totally absurd.
As to why Ethan Klein deserves to be criticized, and that is for being pro-Israel and trying to deplatform pro-Palestinian content creators. I think it's insane to involve...
Holding accountable could have been an email, that's BS. Sure, okay, yeah, sure. Then I'll add on to that, yeah. She's missing out the fact that fundamentally the video was made for money to make a big video and bring back his Content Cop series, probably for some kind of public profile.
His children and anybody else that really doesn't deserve the criticism. I think Hila deserves the criticism as well,
It's just like totally cope. This is like deranged and delusional. iDubbbz knew the hate coming towards Ethan. You wanted needs a target for the H3 Content Cop. Then why didn't you go harder? He could have gone way harder, very easily. It would have been very easy to go way harder on Ethan, but he didn't. He pulled punches like crazy. It was like the most bitched out version of Content Cop you could have possibly made.
Because she says some batshit crazy things on the podcast.
That's like everyone's biggest issue with it too. Is it's completely pussy, like. It's all this empathy, pussy bullshit. Like, oh, it's all about mental health and getting help. That's people's biggest issue with it. If iDubbbz came out and was like actually calling Ethan like a, like a insert Jewish slur here, people probably would have liked it more.
And I've said this, and I'll say it again. If you're spewing pro-Israel propaganda, I'm going to call.
And I don't mean the lefties would have liked it either. I mean, everyone would have liked it. I mean, there wouldn't be Ethan defenders if iDubbbz got on there and started talking about Jewish neuroticism and all this sort of shit.
I received a text asking to say something nice about Ethan, and to be honest, I thought about it long and hard because I was like, this man does not deserve anything nice from me. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Maybe it'll give me some closure. So I wrote a letter to Ethan, and I read it off, and iDubbbz put it in the video, and this was Ethan's reaction to the video.
I bet you would.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
Listen,
Thank
Frogan, she's so dumb that you almost
like that. I understand people hate Frogan. I do think that Frogan might have been the only one who made like a vaguely genuine and relevant statement in that outro. I mean, Noah Samson made a genuine and relevant statement, but Noah Samson was doing coded like shit talking basically. He was saying like "fuck you for trying to sue me, bitch." That was basically what he was saying. But with Frogan, she's the only one who was saying something genuinely nice that I think was vaguely relevant. The others were like this bullshit, fake. Oh, we love you, actually, Ethan. But the thing is that Frogan's whole disagreement with Ethan didn't even come off of the conflict, really. It was off of her getting unfollowed by a YouTuber she liked. Because she obviously probably cares more about retarded YouTube bullshit than she does about the politics, to be quite frank. Like, she's a Hassan fan. I think that's most of them.
be even mad at her. Like,
She did wish us the best in the end. It almost felt like the nicest one of them all.
I think she was the only one being genuine.
Yeah.
Oh,
honestly.
even Ethan says it here, to be fair. Even Ethan says it here.
So I don't want to. Whatever. Just Frogan, just chill, okay? Just stop being an idiot, and I'll stop talking about you. It's really simple math.
She's also by far the smallest creator of the bunch.
Right.
I mean, is it even like cool that he included her? Like, she's just gonna get.
So yeah,
more
yeah,
shit.
okay. So what I'm saying isn't remotely controversial. Okay, so even Ethan sees this. Even Ethan sees that obviously Frogan was probably just upset that the YouTuber she really liked was not only against her on the politics thing, but had also unfollowed her on Twitter. Okay, so even Ethan can see this. So I don't want anyone saying I'm sweeping for Frogan by saying this. That's fucking crazy, okay?
It's not cool.
And, like,
on his
it's not-
behalf.
it's
He
total-
knows what like this entails.
This part made me laugh because it was very tone deaf, and he's acting like half of his content nuke wasn't about me. Half of the content nuke, the entire ending half.
Okay, I understand. If she didn't immediately jump to hyperbolization here, I think there's a good point to be made about what Ethan just said. But she's immediately jumped to the most retarded hyperbole imaginable, saying half the video is about her. No, Ethan is downplaying here. Ethan is trying to act like, you know, who cares? But now you're jumping to this retarded hyperbolization where he's half of the video is about you. No,
just
it's
gonna
not.
get more shit for being
It's
involved.
not. It's not cool.
It was
like,
11
it's not-
minutes.
He
it's
knows what
Yeah.
like this entails.
This part made me laugh because it was very tone deaf, and he's acting like half of his content nuke wasn't about me. Half of the content nuke, the entire ending half. Was
If you close your eyes, Frogan sounds like aristocracy. That's so correct. What?
Half of the content nuke, the entire ending half was about me. So if I'm so irrelevant and so uncool to include, why the fuck was I in your goddamn video?
Like, Hassan can handle it, but like Frogan's now just gonna get a pile of shit on top of her that I have no control over because people are watching. Millions of people are watching his video, by the way, and they're reacting to it, and they're not having good reactions.
Not
to
just our audience.
it. Far from our own. Bro, yeah.
I think it's funny that you think me being in the iDubbbz video is what's going to cause this harassment, when in reality, it's you, Ethan.
They are the nega version of each other. It's the nega version of each other. They're both like, it's like aristocracy's like, I can't leave my house because there are Nazis patrolling the streets. Frogan's like, I can't go to therapy because my therapist is Zionist.
You're acting like you haven't spent the last year and a half doing everything in your power to push people to bully and harass me, including weaponizing propaganda organizations such as the ADL to get me banned off Twitch because I made a joke about you not being able to say Habibi. But no, it's iDubbbz, one of the only major creators besides Hassan who has actually defended me publicly in the last few months. This next section is about the double standards of Ethan's thinking. Let's get started with this clip.
Personally, though, and I've seen Hassan do this before, is he's accused me of it. He goes, "Oh, you just hate Muslims." It's like, bro, can you actually can you actually please just respond to a real argument? Like, please, bro. You know, he just, like, you can't just sweep everything away by saying that. It's just not right. Are people very cruel to her? Yeah, for sure. You know, it's just, I don't know, man.
I don't know how to explain this to you, Ethan, because this is something you claim all the time, but some people are actually racist. Ethan claims people are mean to him all the time because they're racist, using his religion as a shield to criticism, as he claims people are doing to me. A lot of the comments I get are about me being a hijabi and me being Muslim, so no. People are not more charitable to me because I wear the hijab, and I wish that was the case.
I have never, they accuse me of doing it. They go, oh, Ethan.
I would say, obviously, I think the lefties are more charitable to her because she is visibly Muslim. I think there is a point there that progressives and lefties are more charitable to her, you know, sometimes insane takes because she is visibly Muslim. And they're like, well, you know, the US has done terrible things to Muslims, so obviously she hates the US. You know, that's basically the attitude they have towards it. However, those people don't actually have as much of a significant voice as people are pretending they do. And like basically every significant content creator is absolutely tearing Frogan to fucking shreds.
Because I wear the hijab, and I wish that was the case.
I have never. They accuse me of doing it. They go, "Oh, Ethan's just targeting Arab and Muslim creators." It's like I have never one time mentioned her hijabi or brought anyone's fucking identity into my criticism of them.
You haven't said anything about me being Muslim directly, but your ideas about Muslims are pretty obvious from what you say. Here are a few of many examples.
Can't you just make it?
Well, yeah, Trunk Trade Axles, I think that comes under what I'm saying. Yeah, they forgive zero IQ takes because, quote unquote, she's from the region. That's what I'm saying, basically. She's visibly Muslim. They say she's from the region. Whatever way they put it, they have some. There is some extra leniency that's afforded, like significant extra leniency that's afforded there.
Of them.
You haven't said anything about me being Muslim directly, but your ideas about Muslims are pretty obvious from what you say. Here are a few of many examples.
Can't you just make it easier? Why don't you just fly to ISIS and do them a favor and just let them, you know, just serve yourself on a platter for them because you deserve it. Like, I think per capita.
So that's part of the clip. So after this, I'm pretty sure, is where he goes on to say about you should have your family shot and killed in front of you, burned alive by terrorists. That's what you deserve. Like, he goes on. This is the same clip. And that's where when Frogan is reacting to this live, Anissa comes into chat and says, I think Ethan's just being hurt here. I think he's just hurt. I think he'll realize this isn't the best thing to say later on. And then when Ethan responds to the content cop, Ethan uses the screenshot of Anissa saying that to, I believe, disingenuously claim that Anissa supported Frogan's take on October 7th. That's totally insane. That is so disgusting and dishonest. It's absurd. I think Ethan shaved his head here to look like a skinhead. I don't want to say I agree, but there's certainly some validity to that argument. I mean, he said himself, he noticed it on Ian. So he said himself that he knows that skinheads are associated with being a Nazi and hating Arabs. So, I mean, he's acknowledged that he knows that's the case. So I think it's just very weird that when you're being accused of being anti-Arab and Zionist, for you to shave your head and get on stream and start talking about how anyone sympathizing with terrorists should go over there and get killed themselves. I think that's very strange that you decide to shave your head for that. You know, when you know the context and you know what a shaved head implies.
Make it easier. Why don't you just fly to ISIS and do them a favor and just let them, you know, just serve yourself on a platter for them because you deserve it. Like, I think per capita, a lot of the weird fucking terrorism and crimes and shit, I mean, there's definitely some strong thread of violence through the Muslim community. Yeah. Or Arab Muslims, to be more specific.
So I will say that the level of dishonesty in the Anissa thing isn't proven. That's why I say I believe. However, if you go and watch the clip where he claims that, so the saying that happens in that clip, where basically at the bottom of the screenshot on this Reddit post, it says, Anissa responding to Ethan's take, brackets, that killing people is bad. That wasn't what his take was. That wasn't what his take was, first of all. So they're lying there in the post. But Ethan avoids the text that explains that it was responding to Ethan's take. It's very deliberate. He's avoiding it on screen, like panning the screen share above where it says that, while he says that it's Anissa co-signing Frogan's take. So it's not for sure that he was deliberately avoiding the text, because it could shoot a hole in his narrative, but it looks fucking suspicious if you watch that clip. It looks crazy suspicious.
The next thing I want to bring up are the double standards both Ethan and Gila have for themselves. Let's get started with this clip.
We misspoke. It didn't sound good. We immediately corrected ourselves. You know, that's how mature people do. That's how how you're supposed to handle yourself, isn't it? Like, what more do you want me to do?
I have no problem apologizing and admitting and whatever is needed when things happen.
This was in response to people bringing up how Gila said Yoav Gallant was a great guy, even though he's literally a war criminal and pro.
So wait, what was this?
You know, that's how mature.
Next thing I want to bring up are the double standards both Ethan and Gila have for themselves. Let's get started with this clip.
We misspoke. It didn't sound good. We immediately corrected ourselves. You know, that's how mature people do. That's how you're supposed to handle yourself, isn't it? Like, what more do you want me to do?
I have no problem apologizing and admitting and whatever is needed when things happen.
This was in response to people bringing up how Gila said Yoav Gallant was a great guy, even though he's literally a war criminal and pro-genocide. I'm a live streamer as well. I know being live for hours and hours on end, you can misspeak, and that is exactly what happened whenever I said the thing about the U.S. military. I said it in a way in which I didn't mean, and I also clarified it on Twitter by saying the U.S. military...
She misspoke, guys. She misspoke, guys, okay? We all misspeak once in a while, don't we, guys? We all do a little misspeak once in a while, don't we, guys? We've all been there. We've all done it. We've all been there. We've all accidentally misspoke and wished harm upon a protected class. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all done it. It happens. Let's read this. The US military has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. Okay, well, I don't really... The US military has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity. Okay, man. Hey, you're talking about Syria, where there were fucking chemical weapons and shit. Already championing these war crimes if they are liberated my people. It's horrific and disgusting. The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize for that. I go on to clarify the clip that I do not mean all military, but specifically those with no remorse. She does say that, to be fair. What I said was out of frustration, as they are currently bombing my family out of liberation. I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about those issues, and I could have talked about those topics in a more sensitive way. So, I just think it's, like... She does say that it's only ones with no remorse. She does say that. However, does it really make a difference? I don't think it does. I think you're really just saying... Because all you're basically saying there is either they've got PTSD already, they've got like some kind of trauma from it already, there's something going on where they don't feel good about it already, or they should be made to feel terrible about it. It's like, I don't know if you're really saying anything there when you distinguish that. But I think it is a double standard. Like Ethan has said like the crazy stuff that is, you know, she's saying, if you're US military and you've got no remorse, you deserve PTSD. Ethan is saying people deserve death if they sympathize with Hamas. There is kind of a double standard here. There is a double standard, for sure.
Has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. My anger is directed at individuals who are currently championing these war crimes as if they liberated my people. It's horrific and disgusting. The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize for that. I go on to clarify in the clip that I do not mean all military, but specifically those with no remorse. What I said was out of frustration as they are currently bombing...
Just leave out the double down. If we've got the double down, someone send that to me. Someone send that to me. If she's leaving out a double down, then she is probably trying to snake around accountability a little bit, trying to get her out of the situation. But I don't think that changes the fact that there is a double standard. I think the double down doesn't really, it isn't really that material to the response that she's received. I think the response would happen either way.
The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize for that.
Oh, yeah, what? The double down? Oh, what? Yeah, when she watches a clip back, and she goes, oh, beast? That one.
I go on to clarify in the clip that I do not mean all military, but specifically those with no remorse. What I said was out of frustration as they are currently bombing my family in the name of liberation. I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about these issues and that I could have talked about these topics in a more sensitive way. And like I said initially, I'm not granted that charitability at all.
I want to explain it because people bring it up nonstop. I apologize for it right away. When Ethan made a video to address this on his Ethan Klein channel, I made a quick appearance in that video.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Good point there that she did contribute to the culture. All these points are very valid. That clip will be used a lot. You will see many commentary videos. They're already doing it. Use that clip. They'll play something and then they'll hit the Frogan beast clip immediately after. You know.
I shouldn't have called him a really good
guy. It's a soundbite in
H3. I don't know why I said it like that.
What more do you want from me? I did the same exact thing. Now we're moving on to the infamous button. So during the react to the content cop, AB started talking and the button was pushed. Here's the clip.
Authorities block healthcare to Gaza. Again, I'm not. Do you think that I'm talking about walking around Gaza? when I say how great multicultural it is?
We
did
never
you think
defended
that?
how Israel attacked Gaza since October 7th, not even once. We never like.
Okay, wait, but okay, it's not really the point. No one's. I don't think anyone's accusing. Okay, I suppose he's responding to this. Israeli authorities block healthcare workers from entering Gaza. And yeah, but this is okay. So I feel like the point being made here is like that. It's like that Hassan tweet, isn't it, where he posted the picture at like Nazi plantation. I don't know what you actually call them, but the houses they had near the fucking work camps. It's like Israel's a really multicultural place. Like it is that sort of that's the point that Ian's getting at here. Basically, is you're sitting there talking about how amazing a multicultural this place is. Once you're right over the fence, there is untold death and destruction being exacted by that country you're talking about. It's like it seems like a whitewashing almost. No, I've not seen Zone of Interest. No idea. Zone of Interest. In 1943, the commandant of Auschwitz, Rudolf Hoss, and his wife, Hedwig, strove to build a dream life for their family in a house right next to the concentration and extermination camp he helped create. Wow.
Think that how Israel attacked Gaza since October 7th, not even once. We never like co-signed what they did.
Is that not the point he's making though?
What?
That you're talking about how nice Israel is, but
Israel proper is different from Gaza.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Millions
right now, say
Muslims in Israel.
Dude, this button moment is crazy. I will say, like, you have to even as like I understand people are anti pointing out any crazy button moment because you're a snarker, but this is pretty wild. Where it's obvious AB is like he is just trying to stillman the argument in the video. He's saying like, no, you're not really engaging with what's being said actually, which they're not. Which they're not.
Co-signed what they did.
Is that not the point he's making though?
What?
That you're talking about how nice Israel is, but
Israel proper is different from Gaza.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Millions
right now, say
Muslims in Israel.
I guess that's where the.
And then he's gone.
And that's the end of the clip.
No, obviously Gaza is not a concentration camp, and anyone that uses that term is trying to load in a bunch of emotionality into it that you've had drilled into you. However, I don't think it's totally disanalogous to use the idea of the zone of interest thing as that's not totally disanalogous. There's like a point you can make with that, right? It's not the same severity. It's not the same connection between the variables. However, there is a fundamental like analogy to the relationship that can be made there. I think there is a point there.
Because the button was pushed. Anytime any member of the crew gives Ethan any type of pushback, the button is pushed. And he wants to say that I'm surrounded by yes men and people can never criticize me when he doesn't allow his staff that are part of the show to give him any critique or pushback whatsoever. During the live show today, some of the crew defended me, and I appreciate it so much. And during this episode, AB mentioned that the most recent time we talked, him and I had a disagreement.
People are saying stop being friends with her. You guys don't know fucking shit. I have not talked to her in forever, and the last time we did talk, we had a disagreement. Like where is this coming from? Like I don't understand.
This disagreement was a DM I sent him, which stated, "Hey AB, I wanted to reach out privately because responding publicly and adding to the dog pile doesn't feel right. I understand that people often overlook how tough the job market is, and I get that working for Ethan puts you in a complicated position. That said, I think what pushed people over the edge was a clip of you baiting pro-Palestinian people and blocking them. The criticism..."
So I don't know if she's trying to come off empathetic here, but this would just be so fucking annoying. This in a message being like, I understand you're completely stuck there and aren't making your own decisions. It's like, okay, bitch, you're annoying as fuck immediately.
Receiving is largely because people believe you're better than that and don't subscribe to Ethan's views. I know you've been vocal about Palestine, but I think it's important to explicitly clarify that you don't share his beliefs and that you stand on your own. Ethan is not worth the bullshit you have to deal with working for him. Honestly, there have been times where I felt anger towards you. But after some reflection, I wanted to approach you directly. Yeah,
she's like talking about his employment in a really condescending way. That would be very fucking annoying. The rest of it, most of this is like totally fine. I think it is reasonable to mention the work as I get he's your boss, you may, but it's like just say like, I understand Ethan's your boss and you may not agree with everything he says, but and then talk about whatever your criticism is, right? That's how you would say it to a friend, I think. The idea that you're basically sitting here saying, yeah, I understand you're like a house slave, but that's too far. That's way too much for your friend. Like,
I'm saying this as someone who was personally impacted by Ethan and as a cousin. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. AB didn't respond, and that's perfectly fine. I didn't expect him to. You know, I just wanted to get my feelings out. Although AB and I haven't talked in a long time, he's still somebody I care about. You know what I mean? He's like a cousin. You know, we have that bond. We're both from Dearborn. So it's like we're literally cousins. Not literally, but I don't know AB's motivations or what he feels because I'm on the outside at this point. So I am just giving my perspective from somebody on the outside. I will say the invalid points of criticism towards AB is trying to question him as an Arab, which is completely fucked up and wrong.
oh yes, from the region. I'm sorry, but Dearborn is a Muslim region.
Nobody should do that, you know? It is valid to criticize him for still working for Ethan and being silent for as long as he was. Those are valid points of criticism. But don't try to take away his Arabness because you don't agree with him. Whenever AB started streaming on Twitch, I was the first person to raid him, and I even helped him whenever he asked me for advice on what to stream. AB has also helped me in many ways as well. Even a long time ago, AB included me in an H3 episode talking about why people should visit Dearborn. Here's a screenshot. It's from like 2023, I believe. He was also super, super supportive whenever I was nominated.
He dropped out of med school to ride Ethan. Okay, but to be fair, I'm pretty sure Frogan did like the exact same thing for Hassan, no? 150 viewers. She dropped out of what? Her public health masters or whatever? Or no, she has a master's. She was doing a doctor or some shit. Or she dropped out of something. She stopped doing something because
I didn't win the streamer award.
She was orbiting Hassan.
The award goes to
Chala.
Frogan.
Frogan.
You did it, sister!
And to be quite honest, like watching this clip back made me really, really sad because of basically the outcome of what this has become. You know what I mean? And I have nothing.
Oh, she
but
got her
love for
master's,
AB
left her
and Lena,
employment.
and
Okay.
I wish them the best. And maybe in the future we can be friends again. To be honest.
Before she moved out here, I remember us talking, and she was nervous about it. And I said, at the end of the day, you'll have me and Lena, like worst comes to worst. And then shit just hit the fucking fan.
Yeah.
Before.
And to those who are constantly defending me and having my
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with this. Don't care about gay blood quantum games or policing someone's ethnicity. It's such a dumb way to try and get gotchas. The whole 8% thing, 8% Lebanese thing about Anissa and all this retarded shit, and like, oh, you claim to be Muslim, but you left Islam. It's like, dude, you are like, just tell me you're fucking 70 IQ and missing the point without just saying it, without doing an IQ test in front of me, and fuck it, like, it's just so insane. It's so insane. It's so retarded. Didn't Chud say that? If he said that, he's a fucking retard, yeah. It's like the dumbest gotcha in the world. My understanding is that Anissa's dad was born and raised in Lebanon. So calling her like half Lebanese in terms of like upbringing and culture, I don't think is totally unreasonable. And then Frogan, and also she was raised in Islam. Anissa, as far as I'm aware, she left Islam as an adult. Still, you know, that's an Islamic experience, as far as I'm concerned. Frogan was not born in any Muslim country. She was born in Massachusetts, not Massachusetts, in Michigan. Fucking hell. She was born in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, which is a heavily Muslim area. And my understanding is that basically her dad was pretty hardcore Muslim, and when she was, what was it? She said basically she became a hijabi because her dad said he would buy her a car if she did it, basically. So her dad was like, obviously her dad is pretty Muslim, has enforced like Islam, like to some extent within the family. So saying that, you know, she's just like not Muslim or doesn't have any connection to it is just like, it's absurd. It's pretty absurd.
back. I appreciate you and thank you so, so much. You know, during a time like this, it feels like the damage has been done physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. But, you know, after a year and a half of harassment, it feels very calming that people are actually finally on my side.
What gives you the idea this bitch could afford her own car? What gives you that idea?
It's been a nightmare for me.
150 viewers does not get you a car.
Here are some of my favorite pictures taken at the shoot of the content cop bit. Of course, I got to see Kaya. I love her to death. And here are a couple pictures. To Ethan, if you're watching this for some reason.
No, she left her job to become a streamer. I don't think she's got a real job, unless she's got one recently.
My message to you is that, you know, you and I have different worldviews, and you and I have different ideas for what is the best way to help people. And, you know, while I appreciate the spirit of your advocacy, I think it's misguided. You know, after all of this,
Islamic feminists have to happen. I think there's a kind of a point there where if you like super attack every like seemingly Muslim person that's like too liberal for you to consider them a Muslim, like, yeah, if that just works against like Islam reforming and being more like, you know, the Christianity and shit have become, where it's less fundamentalist and crazy, right? Like, aren't you just working against the progress you would probably want to see? You're doing like this outside purity testing shit of like you're not a real Muslim because you're too liberal and too white and shit. Like that doesn't seem very, you know, productive at all.
You've made my life hell. I will say that. You've made my life fucking hell. But at the end of the day, what I said at the end of the content cop still stands. I wish you the best. Wow.
I don't think that was too bad. I think it's just super, you know, like, it wasn't a it's not a misspeak at all, was it? Like, be serious. You said that shit because you thought it was fucking epic to say that. A misspeak is when you use the wrong word because you can't quite latch onto it in your head, like which word to use. Go in saying how fucking based and awesome it would be if US military vets who don't feel remorse got PTSD.